Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Guru is Brahma. The Guru is Vishnu. The Guru is Shiva. The Guru is verily the Supreme Brahman. Salutations to the Guru. This is a well-known verse from the hymn to the Guru in one of the scriptures. And the entirety of the scriptures is nothing but trying to tell us that the Guru is one that sheds the light of knowledge. That knowledge is the knowledge of the reality. In one of the Upanishads called the Shvetashvatra, at the last verse, it says, one who has supreme devotion to God and as much of it to the Guru as to God, to that one, indeed, to that great souled one, these teachings, that is in the Upanishads, that have been spoken, becomes revealed. So it says devotion to the Guru is essential. The verse is, Yasya deve para bhakti, yata deve tata guru, tasyaite katita hyartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Every soul is destined to be perfect. We know that what we are now is the results of some of our past actions. And what we would like to be in the future will depend on what we do today and now. This is a given, but also we know that this does not preclude help coming from outside. And the help that comes from external means is called the Guru. In fact, in spiritual life, this kind of external help is essential. And it's then that the higher power and possibilities of the soul are awakened. Spiritual life is awakened, growth is animated, and a person becomes perfect. So we have a long journey behind us, and we've got a long way to go. This future journey can be quickened by external help, which is called the Guru. This quickening impulse cannot merely come from books. And the receiving soul also, they say, has to be ready. The transmitter has to be perfect. There's an old illustration. One lamp lighting other lamps. So that lamp is what is the teacher, the spiritual teacher. And that lamp goes about lighting other lamps. And we may study books all our lives. We may be the most intellectuals. It is necessary. because you have to have finished all your intellectual, you can say, gymnastics. You have discerned what is real and what is not real. You have to have a basis, yes, because a soul does not need to just get into something without knowing what a thing is. And that's the reason why in Vedanta they said, when you hear something, you cogitate on it, use your reason, and after demolishing it, rather, you can say, what remains, take it. And that's why the Upanishads also say that this Atman cannot be attained through logic. Naisha tarkena matirap. Because this truth is beyond the intellect. Because today you might have an intellectual theory, tomorrow it's going to be demolished by some other intellectual theory. And that has been the way things have always occurred in this world. So this external help comes from a transmitter. So it's a guru, and the soul that receives it is called the recipient, the shishya, the guru and the disciple. Okay. Now, many times the receiving soul itself is not ready. Or maybe the transmitter, the one from where you get the impulse, does not have that power. Then what happens? Then you're going to have trouble. So this impulse comes from one who has the power and one who has not only just a limited power, but that person is in touch with the source of spiritual power. So again in the Upanishads, the teacher must be wonderful, they say. The true preacher of religion has to be wonderful and extraordinary. Then will be the student, and the splendid awakening results, not otherwise. Ashcharya Vakta Kushal. Because this, when the young boy goes and meets his teacher, Death, in one of the Upanishads. Death as a teacher. Yes, Death also is a teacher. He tells the boy this. There's another law. When the soul is ready, the teacher, the guru, will come. Has to come. But many a times what happens is, we may go through a kind of a momentary dispassion. Someone we love or something happens, dies, or there's a crisis, and that momentary kind of feeling that everything is the source of disillusionment. And we like to get away from this, and we think that this is a real spiritual urge. But after a while, it all tapers down and you're left stranded and even drier than what you started. So there are a few criteria for the disciple as well as the guru to fulfill. And that is, first is, you must understand that, yeah, we are born and we understand birth, but there's something called a spiritual birth. In the old days, when you take up an exclusive spiritual life, you were initiated as a young child is initiated into this sacred thread, Upanayana, that is, and the start their spiritual journey. This is considered a spiritual birth. Today, those old traditions are hardly, you can say, practiced anyway. However, whenever you are initiated, that constitutes your spiritual birth. All what you have ever done is now going to be rectified. It's not only that, it's like a guru, he takes away some of the karma to plant that seed of spirituality within you. This is important because there are many times you say, oh, we'll just throw the seeds about and they will germinate. They might, but it is the work of the guru that extracts a little of the soil around, plants a seed, waters it, and then subsequently the disciple has to keep on nurturing that plant of spirituality. So it is, knowledge has been transmitted to the disciple and the guru takes some karma from it. Otherwise, what happens is, it will be only something like, oh, I come teach, people listen and they go. There has to be a real transference of knowledge, power, and a real taking or extracting some of the karmas. So, the knowledge that the guru gives is encapsulated or embedded within a mantra. This is also important because it is not something intellectual that the guru has given you. It's a mystical kind of seed. And that seed now keeps on growing and growing. And that gives you knowledge. And a lot of people say, oh, I have been repeating the mantra for ages. Well, if you repeat it, you're going to have spiritual knowledge. You will not ask, does God exist? That question is irrelevant here. Because within that seed, that knowledge is growing and growing. In that seed contains the knowledge of the entirety. Your own knowledge of your real nature, the knowledge, the mystical knowledge of the world, and the mystical knowledge of the reality. All these three things are encapsulated. So you have the teacher, the disciple, the mantra. And here the guru also gives you a form to be meditated upon. Now this form is in accordance with one's own characteristics, one's own nature. If one's nature is to worship Shakti, the goddess, and the guru gives you a mantra which is of Shiva, that will take a long time. So it's a question of line of least resistance. So understanding your nature, the guru will give you an appropriate mantra, which, as I said, a mantra is the sound symbol, mystic sound symbol, and that mystic sound symbol also has what is called a form. So as you repeat the mantra, you got to visualize that form, and this form, the visual form, the sound form, the guru, the disciple are all linked with the reality. And the more one practices spiritual disciplines, the more the bonding occurs. You will find no difference between them later on between you, the Guru, the sound symbol, the mystic visualization, and the reality. So this bonding leads one to freedom. People say, we've been repeating this mantra. Do you feel free inside? There is a sense of kind of liberation within. The spirit is getting liberated, as it were. And this bonding is a bond of love. If you practice the spiritual disciplines and then keep on without love, it's going to be a dry journey. Do it with love. So, as I said, the seed, the mantra, must be a living seed. And the ground must be ready for it. And there is a law in the spiritual world. When the field is ready, the seed must come, has to come. There is no doubt about it. You don't go seeking the Guru. Just keep on preparing your own heart and mind, and the seed will come. The Guru will seek you out. There's a saying, popular saying, Guru mile na lakho, shishya mile na ek. You get gurus by hundreds of thousands, but you will not get one real disciple. So, discipleship is tough. Okay. So, there is also a few qualifications that are necessary for the disciple. Really, I thought it was just you walk in and take a mantra and go out. So what we find is there are a few things. The disciple should have the desire to know the reality or truth. That's the first. And secondly, it has to persevere. If you have these two qualifications, then you're on the way for higher and higher spiritual life. So this is important. Otherwise, what happens is, if the Guru is only giving you something intellectual and you drink in all the intellectuality, then what happens is the Guru also does it to increase the circle of his disciples, for money, for name and fame. He says, I am such a great Guru, you see. Then it's like the blind leading the blind. Both fall into a ditch. Vidyayamantare vartamana. So you've got to be very careful about this. So the desire to know the truth, purity, the purity of motive. You are not going to get anything material from here. Forget the whole idea of material prosperity, etc. There are many mantras that if you chant it, to give you material prosperity. But here, it's only spiritual prosperity that you will get. There are no material benefits at all. And later on, you'll find that the material world is nothing but a drop in the ocean of this spiritual treasure that one receives. So this persistence, this desire to know the truth, purity, etc., these are the conditions for the disciple. The best way is, they say, to ask these questions with humility, because the spiritual realm is an extremely subtle realm. Here, it's only these higher intuitions that have been able to reveal some of these pitfalls that appear and which paths to avoid and what's the nature of each dimension one enters into. So yes, there are various dimensions within the spiritual world. Spiritual world is not just one-dimensional. Like here, this is not a one-dimensional world. Similarly, the spiritual world is a vast dimensional world, multi-dimensional world. And as you enter into one, you need to know what comes next. And there it is this, that the spiritual insights of the Guru, who has already traversed the path, can lead you. There is also the idea that, oh, the Guru is going to do all the spiritual practices for me. You know, in Holy Mother's life, we have Mother is waking up in the middle of the night, even when she was not well. And she was found to be doing japa. And then the attendants are saying, why are you doing this? You're not well. What do I say, my child? People come and take the mantras and they don't repeat it. So I'm repeating it for them. So the disciple also needs to be working hard. The Guru, of course, will, when the Guru meditates, etc., the disciple gets a benefit of it. Oh yes. Because now that you have forged a connection, it's not going to go anywhere. So the Guru practices spiritual disciplines also for the disciple. And it's the bounden duty of the disciple to also practice spiritual disciplines. So as Swami Vivekananda says, the powers of each are then magnified. So it is a sort of a commitment, a spiritual commitment, not only to the Guru, but to yourself and also to God. Because this is what I've committed myself. Now I'm going to take this responsibility. So the teacher, the Guru, there are certain conditions. There are some Gurus who are very kind of wordy or mouthy. They will keep on talking and talking and talking. And the Guru should know the spirit of the scriptures, not just the dry bones of the scriptures, the words, the sentences, the syntax. They will keep on quoting this and quoting that. Because every scripture has deeper and deeper layers. That's why the Upanishads are called secret knowledge. Secret, what's so secret about it? They're published. That's only the external, the veneer. Down below are those layers of meaning, deeper and deeper. Those can be taught only by a Guru to a disciple. That's the reason why the first condition for the Guru is Shrotriya, one who has heard. Ordinarily, we will say one who is adept in the scriptures. But the deeper meaning is one who has understood the spirit of the scriptures. A person may not be so articulate, but he or she can give you an insight into the meanings of the scriptures. And then we have, the second condition is Avrijana, that is, the Guru should be sinless. There should be complete purity. They will say, so I don't need to know the character of the Guru to receive knowledge from him. No. In every other sciences and everything, yes, you can. You can hear great lectures in science and physics and this and that and everything. We don't know what that person is, but that person has studied it. But in the realm of spiritual world, in spiritual life, the character of the Guru is extremely important. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna will say, oh, you have to see the sadhu, that's a holy person, in day as well as night. You just cannot simply, oh, that person, whatever is. No. And that's the reason why there are few checks and balances. Don't just rush in. You need to see that transmitter, with that, as Sri Ramakrishna will say, make your mind and speech one. And then you will say, because there should be no simulation, there should be no hypocrisy. That person should be able to tell you what things are. And he might tell you all your faults also. Take that also. That is one thing that the disciple does not like to. The Guru will point out his faults also, before you can point out the Guru's faults. So the Guru is faultless, spiritually faultless. And so that's why what he says or she says is extremely important, because it has character behind it. Otherwise, forget it. Then, what's the motive? Why should the Guru give you an initiation into the spiritual life? If he does it or she does it for any personal or any type of gain, run away. Run away from that. First thing is, they say, if you see the Guru claiming this and claiming that, run away. Yes. There should be no claims, no money involved. Otherwise, it's just another ordinary transaction. The Guru does it because of love. That's the only criteria. If you don't love the Guru, the Guru does not love you, then God save you. Because knowledge and everything is transmitted only through love. It's only through love that you can grow. There should be a mutual respect. The Guru will not be very dismissive about you also. That's another thing. Oh, guy doesn't know anything. This. And they say, the Guru is useless, giving some old doctrines and theories which are not related to life and this and that. So each one will criticize the other and there. So the motive is important. The Guru will teach only out of love, because the Guru has seen the potential, the potentiality being recognized within the disciple. That Guru then becomes a father, a mother, a friend, a guide, everything. Slowly egg the disciple on and on. The disciple may be kind of lethargic, lax about, and the Guru is not going to scold. He may, but will slowly encourage the disciple. It's just like, we have, we have children, and you know how you got to give them love and teach them, and they will listen to it, because that's the best way that somebody responds. So these are the, you can say, qualifications for a Guru. Yes, you better see these things are there established. Otherwise, you might get a half-baked and you remain half-baked disciple. Now, the Guru and disciple are very ancient traditions. You know, in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, you found that he used to be initiated by different gurus. Not for you, don't worry. You all are different. One is enough. Because one mantra itself might take your entire life. The mantra takes a lot of repetitions for it to be perfect. Sri Ramakrishna could do a kind of a spiritual practice for the particular tradition in 3 days, sometimes even instantaneously, because his mind was extremely pure and concentrated. So he used to get initiated through various gurus. Why? Because he had to re-establish the ancient traditions of the guru and disciple, of those like of the Shaivas, the Vaishnavas and the Ramayites and all Vedanta and all these things, to re-authenticate them. Besides, if he wasn't initiated in those traditions, we would not have listened only to him. He was just a holy man speaking some holy things. It doesn't have the strength of a tradition behind him. And the strength of the tradition is thousands and thousands of years old. Yes, somehow through diligence, this knowledge had been cultivated and protected by a long line of traditions. The disciple later in turn becomes a guru, and this guru then initiates other disciples. And what happens, like in every branch of learning, you learn something from the professor and then you keep on then doing research, and what you are doing is actually pushing the boundaries of that particular branch of learning. Say in physics, you're pushing the boundary. And then what happens is, not only is the very science is benefited, knowledge grows, it benefits the others also. Similarly, in spiritual life also, a disciple receives some knowledge, cultivates it, practices what has been taught, and pushes the boundary of spirituality a little more. And that again is then transmitted to the next generation, and generation after generation after generation, this knowledge has been growing and growing and growing. This is the spiritual knowledge. People say, oh, there's spirituality. You cannot get spirituality by paying anything. It has to come to you. You have to work at it, and you have to show your fitness for it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was told by Krishna, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham. See, I gave this science of yoga at the very beginning of creation to Vivaswan. Vivaswan, the first, you can say, cosmic person, give it to Manu Rikshva, and then it came down. And this long parampara, this long tradition, in time became vitiated because the disciples down the line were not so diligent. So I'm speaking about this ancient traditions once again. So here we get the idea that along with this creation that God has done, He has also planted the seeds of spiritual liberation along with it. You're saying, oh, what is this world? How do we escape it? Oh, there are roads, there are ways that have been embedded in the very structure of creation. That is what you need to go to. So, and where do you find these traditions? You prepare yourself, the tradition will come to you. And that is for sure. So, it has been for thousands, millennia. We don't know how far this. Some of these verses that in praise of the Guru is like, Om Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Karte. It starts from the very creator. This knowledge of Brahman, the tradition of the knowledge of Brahman, has been protected by sages down the ages till it came to Ramakrishna. And then from Ramakrishna, it's coming down to us. So what you receive along with this mantra or any initiation is the entire strength of traditions for thousands and thousands of years. What tradition? It's kind of intellectual or something. No. These are experienced truths. These truths have been experienced and they have been now transmitted to you in a seed form. Now what you do is you keep on pushing the boundaries. So this eye-opener of the disciples' spiritual eye, as they say. People who say third eye and the pineal gland and this and that, and oh my God, so many kind of things are there going around. The third eye is the eye of knowledge that the Guru opens up. Now, in the opening chant we said Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu. So, in the Vedanta, they have dismissed more or less philosophically the idea of a personal God. Because philosophically it's not tenable. How can one person who is like a personal God have all these great powers that the universe possesses, etc. So they made that God impersonal. Here it is possible to explain many things about the individual, about the world, about what's a past and present and future to philosophically, to someone, to a disciple. So they made God impersonal. But they made one thing personal, that is the Guru. So they brushed away the personal God and they installed the Guru itself. That's why in the opening chant it was like one who has devotion to God as well as the same type of devotion to the Guru. That person's, you can say, knowledge will spark instantaneously. So they have made no difference between the Guru and God. Yes. In fact, in Sri Ramakrishna, in one of his teachings, he's telling Swami Satyamayananda. So as the disciple progresses, as he's coming towards the very end of his spiritual journey, what happens is the Guru appears and says, this is your chosen ideal. And then the Guru merges in that chosen ideal. The Guru is lost in it, merged in it. So Swami Satyamayananda, the Guru disappears. It is the chosen ideal itself that had appeared to you in the form of. Now, is the Guru human? Yeah, now that is a big question. If you look at the Guru as human, then think of the Guru as just a channel which has brought down that power. And people say, we want to serve the Guru. And yeah, that is also another form of, you can say, receiving knowledge. Yes, how to serve the Guru. Very difficult to serve the Guru. Like I said, he'll bring up all your faults. And then you had trouble. So the best form of service is to practice the spiritual disciplines that the Guru has taught you. That itself is service to the Guru. So from the highest standpoint, the scriptures say that knowledge that is received from the Guru is firm. That is, will not be vitiated, it will not disintegrate, it will not fragment, it will not break, it will not be contradictory. They're saying, Acharyad vidya viditam sadishtam. that the knowledge received from the Guru, the Acharya, is perfect. And in another place also is said, Acharya mam vijaniyad, know me to be the teacher. God himself says, know me to be the teacher. And in the yoga scriptures also he is saying, what are these gurus? No, these are gurus. But the biggest guru is God. So they equate the guru with God. But what about if the disciple thinks of herself or himself as just a human, then they are bound to see the guru also as a human. There will come a time when the disciple can see oneself as a spirit. Then they can see the guru also as spirit. That's a time when all the human elements are all, you can say, have fallen away. Then you know the real nature of the guru. As I said, the word guru means, gu means darkness, ru means that which dispels. So it's guru which dispels all darkness. As one progresses in spiritual life, we find as the mind becomes pure, the mind itself becomes one's teacher, guru. That is very important. We ask, I've got these questions and my guru is staying somewhere in Antarctica. I cannot reach that guru. So what can I do? I have these questions. That can never happen. As the mind becomes pure, the mind becomes concentrated, the mind is devoted to the spiritual practices, that mind itself will lead the way. It will answer all your questions. Because the knowledge that has been transmitted is a knowledge which is without fault. There's no doubts in it. And if doubts do come, they will be dispelled. Sri Ramakrishna says, I saw Satchidananda come out of this body and say, I incarnate in every age. So Sri Ramakrishna is quiet. He's seeing Satchidananda is that God comes out, I incarnate. And Sri Ramakrishna himself says, is Satchidananda alone is the Guru. There cannot be any other. So all these gurus and all these traditions and all these mantras have come from that divine source. From this. And that's the reason why when you keep on meditating on your guru, you've got to meditate on the Ishta, that is chosen ideal, and the guru. Slowly you will feel there's a kind of a convergence. You will feel both the guru and the chosen ideal are reflections of that reality called Satchidananda. And then the disciple also feels that she or he is also a manifestation of Satchidananda, which we are. Philosophically, it has been, in Vedanta, it has been established. And then not only the guru merges in the chosen ideal, the disciple also merges in them. Sri Ramakrishna says the guru merges in the chosen ideal. What about the disciple? The disciple also, because they are all bound together. They have one single identity. The guru, disciple, mantra, the chosen ideal, and the reality. Then the whole thing appears. You have come to the end of the knowledge. You have become one with that knowledge. So this is how the soul, which is destined for perfection, every soul, it cannot be otherwise. And everything has a soul. Nobody has been barred from this perfection. Nobody can be barred from this perfection. Except if you're taking it easy. That's okay. But one day you're going to rush through. this is what Vedanta says. Everybody will attain that. There is no eternal damnation. There cannot be eternal damnation because you are a soul. And this soul is imperishable. Nothing can destroy it. What about that if the volcano or the earthquake, and that soul is indestructible. It will go and inhabit a body and then again it will start striving. The soul is indestructible. Its nature is freedom, perfection. And the Guru comes to quicken the soul so that it may attain this perfection. So this is what the journey of the soul is. Like when we, suppose you stumble. There was a time when we were walking down a trail and I stumbled and 3 or 4 people came to help me. Oh, are you hurt? I said, no, I have not hurt. So always when the soul is struggling, it is stumbling, know that the soul is awakening. Because until and unless the soul has not struggled, it's not weeping for a higher vision of life, the Guru will not come. Once you do that, know that, and every soul is struggling to come away from this imperfection. So when you receive that help, God's help comes to you in the form of the Guru. And that is, now your journey is assured. Now it's only up to you to keep on moving ahead. Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. Oh, peace, peace, peace. I have some questions. And before you go into the questions, this evening at 7, we have Ram Nam here. Tomorrow, there is a meet and greet the Guru. Swami Bhaskarananda will be giving a meet his disciples and devotees on the Zoom meeting tomorrow at 7. Because I took the Guru topic because tomorrow is Guru Purnima. So it's a very sacred day. It is also considered, believed also, to be the birth date of Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, who compiled all the Vedas, and he wrote all these great, you can say, Puranas, mythological, the 18 Puranas, Mahabharata, etc. He was the one with a huge intellect. So it's the Veda Vyasa's birthday. And of course in India it's Guru Purnima already. So. Okay.
So you talked about how, once you kind of have the connection between the Guru and disciple, kind of begin the progression back to the source.
The progression is in the front, is in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, as you're making progress along the path to progression, how do you know whether you are still accumulating karma or whether you're no longer accumulating karma?
Okay. The question was, as you're proceeding down the spiritual path, how do you know whether you are accumulating karma or dissipating karma? So, first thing is, that very mantra that you have received and you're repeating is also instrumental in cutting your karma. That's because that's a very powerful, you can say, mantra that you have received. We find in the teachings of Holy Mother also, saying where you're supposed to get a wound as big as a plowshare, you get a pinprick. You get a pinprick, but you escape most of it. So what has saved you from that huge wound? Just your mantra. Similarly, all that old, you can say, traumatic experiences or all what type of experiences you had all through are now slowly being chopped off. So there are two things. As you repeat a mantra and practice spiritual, you are moving ahead, and those things which have been holding you, they are getting chopped off. So you know, as you proceed, you will know that, oh yeah, that there's a real progress being made. Because you know what happens is, like, suppose I move from one place to the other. I'm not moving blindly. I know I have changed places. So similarly, as you keep on practicing a spiritual discipline, you will know exactly, yes, I've changed my spiritual place. I've gone from this elevation to the next elevation. Because it is the seed also of knowledge. You will know. Otherwise, you keep on practicing and not knowing anything, it can never be. That is knowledge. That entire knowledge of your individuality, the world, and God, these three things are embedded within that mantra. So as it keeps on growing, first into a sapling and then slowly into a nice tree, you will know. It's there, visible. It's very, when you can see there, it's an evidence. Yeah. Okay. How does one experience the limitless nature of the spirit when one's body, the vehicle, is drowned in various limitations? First is the limitless nature of the spirit, limitless nature of the Atma. When you talk about spirit, it has been kind of mixed up with the idea of a subtle body. The subtle body doesn't die but transmigrates. So that's a limitless nature of the Atman, the reality. When one's body, the vehicle, is drowned in various limitations, that has been the problem of every spiritual aspirant. So what makes your body limited? Well, you need to breathe. the big things. You forget the whole thing. Your body needs to breathe. You need to eat. The body is linked completely and meshed completely with the world. So your limitations are, your body has to be kept alive. Okay. The others are psychological limitations. Your own jealousies, hatreds, anger, all these kind of things are also limiting the nature of your soul. So take care of those first, they say. And once you're clean psychologically, then what happens is the other limitations of keeping the body alive, food and water and drink and sleep and all, they are not a big problem. There will come a time when, as you keep on practicing spiritual disciplines, you will be able to transcend body consciousness. You'll get into the flow. We had some of these classes last year. You get into the flow. You don't feel your body. You can keep on practicing for a long time. So why? Because now you're psychologically free. So that's the best way to get yourself away from the various limitations as you've been speaking about. The biggest limitations, the other bigger limitation, biggest, I will say, the only big limitation is the sense of the ego. When you push that away, you're being filled. Then the limitation of the body and all that is nothing. It's the ego that limits you. Take that away. How do you take that away? Well, the scriptures have spoken it variously. Well, keep on doing spiritual practices, etc. Whenever you work, do some karma yoga. That when you work and do everything, offer the results to your guru or the God. And it's a pride pride and haughtiness, etc. All these things are the manifestations of ignorance, your ego. And knowledge and humility and kindness and compassion, all these are the manifestations or the results of knowledge. So, the more you take your ego out, the more these qualities will manifest. And these are qualities worth dying for. So push it away and then. Okay. Yeah.
So the connection between the disciple, the guru, and God, if the guru leaves the body and the disciple is still here on this plane, that connection still continues. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the question was, well, the guru and the disciple and the chosen deity, the connection. But suppose the guru has passed away, which everybody does. But that's only the human side of the guru's personality that has passed away. So the connection stays always. Because later on you'll find it is a chosen ideal that had appeared in this form. Not only that, on a higher level, you will find that the chosen ideal has manifested itself as the guru and also the disciple. Yes. Amazing. We try to belittle our own selves, are helpless, useless, this, that. We don't really know that same reality has manifested itself as a teacher and as a student also. And that's the connection. So if we can stop here for today, and I can be there, you can take some more questions out in the library. Okay, all. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.